Perfect. So to start us off again, I would like to ask our panelists to please introduce yourself a little bit further by giving us a little bit of a background, your PM background. How long have you been a member of Toastmaster, if you have been part of other Toastmasters club? And then how long have you been a member at PMUT? And I would like to ask Arlie to start us off.
Thank you, Kristen. I've been a member with Toastmasters for about 6.5, 7 years. I'm one of the founders of this club. We had our 5th anniversary in October. So I've been very fortunate to be in this project management community and environment, and this club. It's been a really great experience, and just fortunate to be here for the development of the club, be here for the growth, and to participate on the executive.
Thank you, Arlie. And now let's ask Neda to please answer the question. Let me know if you want me to repeat it though.
That's fine. Thank you, Christine. So I joined Toastmasters back in May 2019. Actually, I joined Toastmasters and the club as well at the same time. So I am almost 3 years now. I'm part of the PM Project Management community, I think back from 2015, and part of the executive committee from last year as an officer of the club.
Perfect. And so far it's been great, especially being the VP of education.
Yes, it was a wonderful opportunity for me.
Thank you. Okay, next up is Carrie, please.
Thank you. So I've been in Toastmasters since the middle of 2016, and I was also one of the founding members of the club, which was in 2017. And it's been a wonderful experience, and I've enjoyed it. And because otherwise I wouldn't have stayed. So,
that's true.
like, I mean, if you've been doing some 5 or 6 years and you don't love it and enjoy the experience, I wouldn't have stayed. So I've learned a lot, and I've stayed because I like the people, and I like the vibe of this club and what they stand for, and that's why I'm still here.
Thank you, Carrie. That's actually super sweet, and that actually is a really great segue to the next question that we have, which is, I feel like we can go a little bit deeper on this one, is what does the PMUT club mean to you? And Carrie, since you transition us really well, do you want to just continue your thought?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So what it means to me is, it means, first of all, it means Toastmasters, because we do Toastmasters. So we do, we follow all the Toastmaster rituals. We have the meeting, we do our speeches, we do the table topics, which is great. I mean, there's 200 or 300 other Toastmasters clubs in Toronto. But what makes our club unique? Well, several things. One thing is the project management angle, because there are other clubs, like there's engineering Toastmasters, and there's a lot of corporate clubs that deal in their area of the business, but this one's directed mostly towards project management. And that's really one of the reasons that I came to join. I don't mind getting the PDUs, I'm not going to lie, but I didn't join to get the PDUs. It's I kind of look at it as a bonus. I'm happy to come to the meetings and participate and be part of the group. And the nice thing about this club is everybody supports each other and has everybody's back, and the meetings are fun. I've been to some meetings, they're not fun. I went to one, it was so serious, I was so depressed, I never went back to the meeting. They were they read poetry, and it just wasn't a good vibe. So I figure if I'm going to be here, I'm going to enjoy what I do, enjoy the people, and enjoy the club.
Amazing answer. Thank you so much, Carrie. I just want to pass it on now to maybe Zaneta to please let us know, what does the club mean to you? Because aside from Carrie and Arlie have more than 5 years of experience, and I know in this group you're more in the I guess, the earlier stage of your membership. So please let us share your experience and what does PMUT Club mean to you? Yeah.
Of course, Christine. So for me, joining PMUT was one of the best decisions that I have made, not only from the professional side, but also from the personal perspective. Personally, I echo what Carrie has mentioned. That I feel the club is very welcoming and it's a safe environment to practice, to become better speakers, better leaders, and better communicators. I haven't feel judged anytime. Actually, I feel the opposite. I feel encouraged and motivated to keep growing and learning as a group and have fun at the same time, which is a good thing, you know. You're here, or you joined the club to improve, and it's a two-way, right? It's also demands commitment and discipline from your end. So the club is here for you, but it also requires dedication. So the limit is up to each of the members. And during my journey, throughout these 3 years, I feel blessed for having a chance to learn from this talented group of members. I was able to make connections, to expand my network, but I was also able to make friends. And I plan to keep nurturing that, that relationship. And if I want to summarize, for me, PMUT has the right balance, I'm using the word of the day, between professionalism and friendship. And so that is why I keep coming to this meeting, and that's why I feel motivated to do and go beyond and to give the extra mile. And yeah, that's why I feel very blessed to be part of the PMUT family. I can call family this club. So,
and we appreciate you as being a member. Thank you, Zenaida. Okay, and Arlie, please go ahead and share your thoughts. Oh, you're muted, sorry.
Can you repeat the whole question again?
Yes, so what does the PMUT Club mean to you? Or if you want to share any personal development or growth that you've seen in yourself.
I remember during an interview, I was asked what project that I was most proud of. And I was asked, maybe I did something, I worked with a company, there was a logo, a building I could pass by, or a structure I could see, or app I could look at my phone. And it really was this club. It gave me so much pleasure to create this club and be a true servant leader, and to see it nourish. And as Zenaida would say, she's just one of many perfect examples of someone who came in and was able to benefit and grow from the community. And it's just wonderful to see people, their paths, to see, for a lot of people, I remember their very first meetings, their very first days in PMUT, and to see them flourish into these leaders, into these communicators, it's just absolutely wonderful, and it really warms my heart. Just being a part of this group has been wonderful. Just creating this community has just been just a great blessing and opportunity for me. And for me personally, how I've grown as a leader, as a communicator, just a networker and a connector. It's really helped me focus and hone in on those skills. So I've been very grateful for this job.
Thank you. And I totally agree to that. And I believe that's like a really key point as well. It's like leadership, because leadership is not something that you can read and then suddenly you're a leader. You kind of have to practice it. And I think that's one thing that really stands out in this club as well. And I just want to mention is you get to practice that in a safe environment, and people are supporting you on and giving you constructive feedback if there is anything. And it's just great. And with that leadership in mind, my next question, and just transitioning it to that, are the executive roles and the executive committee at PMUT. I just want to spotlight this specific question to Zenaida because she is currently the VP of Education for PMUT. Yeah, and then I just want to ask, like, maybe give us a little bit of insight of like how the PMUT executive committee is structured, and maybe highlight a little bit of example on the education community committee. Thank you. So go ahead, Zenaida.
Okay, thanks, Christine. So I currently serve the club as a VP of Education for this period of time from 2021 to 2022. However, my involvement on the education portfolio started a while ago during the second half of 2019 when I joined the education committee. After our friend and current president Liban invited me to be part of this committee, of this group of team members. And here I want to pause a little bit because I want to reflect about the concept behind the committee, which I think it was a great decision, a great strategy, which is the idea behind of that is to share the workload of the officer, of the education officer among team members. So the role is sustainable. And also by sharing the activities among a team, we have a greater sense of accomplishment rather than having one just overwhelmed or burnout with all the stuff. So that committee concept was successful in the education portfolio, and that is why it was also expanded to the membership group, and also after that to the PR public relations committee or group as well. So that's the concept behind the committee. And how does it work? So within each portfolio, there are certain number of tasks. So for example, in education, we have to take care of issuing PDU receipts every quarter. We also submit the evaluation forms after each speaker delivers a speech. You will be receiving your evaluation feedback. We also secure speakers. We also have to deal with the assignment between mentor and mentee. We also schedule Toastmasters and so on. So these tasks are between the team members are rotated. So that's manageable. And since we are project managers, we can organize ourselves and plan accordingly. So not everyone has everything to do all the tasks. So we it's divide and conquer strategy. And that's regarding the regular task. For new initiative, for example, the PMUT Buddy initiative that we just roll out. As a team, we brainstorm and decided, okay, from point A, what do we need to do to have this rollout go to point B? So we brainstormed, we decided what are the steps, and thanks to that collaborative environment, we actually volunteer based on our preferences to split the work and make that happen. So for example, someone was more appealed to do the survey, so go for it. Another one was appealed to do the communications through MailChimp, go for it. And the other one was more appealed to do the assignment of buddies. So that's how we, as a group, as a team, collaboratively decided to move on and have, and we got it. We roll out the buddy system, which has just started. So hope this can give you and has provided you with insight of how we deal the committees.
Yes, thank you, Zenaida. And I just want to echo something. For the new members and the guests, you guys probably just only see the meetings, every Tuesdays for 2 hours. And it's like, oh, it's so fun. But there's actually a lot of things happening in the background. And those require work. And I think this is why this group is so well organized, that everyone's able to pitch in. So not one person is doing a lot of work, because again, we're all volunteers here and we all want each other to succeed. So each member who has the time and the resources and like the capacity to help, we appreciate any help they can give. And I think that also adds to the balance of not only developing your professional skills like communication and leadership, but you also have that personal touch of meeting people and building those relationships, which is really great. And then speaking about Toastmaster tasks, this is something that I'm still a little bit vague about, but there's also another life outside of the PMUT Toastmaster, which is the division and the other side, bigger side of Toastmaster, which I want to maybe highlight Carrie or spotlight Carrie on this. What roles have you played beyond the club level? So I know there's area, there's division, there's district. Maybe give us a little bit of explanation. What are the differences? So that for anyone who's interested, maybe that's something you want to proceed, they'll be able to get a little bit more understanding about it.
Okay, so first of all, we're a club and we're in an area, and then a bunch of those clubs are in a division, and all those go into the district. So we're in District 60, and we're in C, and that's how that works. But that's just the hierarchy. But just briefly, so I don't know if you guys, Maria, she used to be in this club. She's not here. She's in another club. She called me a couple of years ago. She goes, Carrie, how would you like to be an area director? I'm like, no, thanks. I'm not interested. She goes, no, Carrie, you should really consider it. Why don't you just fill out the application? And I'm like, okay. So I filled out the application, and then I got connected to the incoming district director, whose name was Don Phil at that time. So we had a conversation, and about a half an hour later, I was an area director. So one thing about my journey is, even though we're in C, I was in area H. Now it's area D. And the reason is because I don't live downtown, I live midtown. So I ended up choosing to be an area director in proximity. And because when I wanted to go and visit the clubs, I figured it would be easier for me to do so. So in 2019, I was an area director, and I looked after 5 clubs. One thing about Toastmasters is, yes, there's speaking opportunities, but there's just as much on the leadership side. And the nice thing about leadership is they don't assume you know anything, because that was my first thing. I'm like, I don't know anything. Oh, no. Well, are you interested? Yeah. Okay, perfect. You'll learn. So that's the beauty of Toastmasters. They don't assume you have any experience. Well, not that you don't have any experience, but you don't know anything, and you'll learn. So they're always learning opportunities. So I did that area director role in 2019, and I really loved it. I got to visit my 5 clubs. I visited them 2 or 3 times, and it was really interesting. Really, when you get to go to 5 clubs, and I went to 3 or 4 of their meetings and interacted with them. It was really a great experience. So then the next year, I was asked if I wanted to be a division director. So a division director looks after all the clubs in that area. Last year was about 20 clubs, and that was a good experience. But I must say I enjoy the area director role more. And the reason I say that is because the division director doesn't directly deal with the clubs. That goes through the area director. So it was probably more administrative work rather than actually dealing with the clubs. So I really, really enjoyed that. And also, after this year, I decided to take the year off and just take it easy. Well, guess what happened? I was asked to do a bunch of other things. So this year I was a mentor. I worked on the district leadership committee. That's the committee that helps appoint the new members. I am this year for the first time, I'm actually going to the conference. I'm helping out at the conference this Saturday. I helped run the appreciation lunch, and this week they're having the elections and I'm helping out. So one decision for me to say I wanted to be an area director has led to a lot of really great things. And the thing I'll say about it is it's led to a lot of great things. And I met some really incredible people that would really almost do anything for me, and I would do anything for them. And that's one of the reasons, one of the beauty of Toastmasters. So if any of you are thinking of exploring that, please let me know. And it's a really awesome experience. It's a lot of fun, and you'll learn a lot and you'll meet some great people. And it doesn't mean that you have to abandon PMUT. That's not what it means. It means you can do that in addition. You'll be a club member here, because to take on any roles, you have to be a member of a club. So it doesn't mean you're ditching this club to do other stuff. It's just in addition to that. And there's maybe like 30 or 40 different opportunities if you're interested in speaking, or there's the alignment. There's a lot of opportunities, and they're always looking for new people. So if there's something that interests you, you can let me know, and I can let you know about that. And it's been a fantastic experience. I've really enjoyed meeting some of the people. So and it's not necessarily maybe on the speaking side, but more maybe on the leadership side.
Thank you, Carrie. I think that explanation sums up what I knew a little bit about it, but at least now I have a better understanding of like the different, I think, sections, because I've always confused what they are. So thank you for that. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. So in regards to the, the opportunities that Toastmasters can bring, I also kind of want to ask now Arlie about the history of the club and like what led to, like, because you're one of the founding members, what led to it, and maybe highlight a little bit about the scholarship, which will be great. Thank you.
Our club was created out of a unique need, something that we saw a lack in the community, in the project management community. It was early 2016, where Jane Taylor, Carrie Singer, Lionel Felix, and myself are the current members, and Valerie Putoff and Dolly Gorior, who's the past members, and our dearly departed Rod Chambers. We got together and hashed out how this club would work. We're working on the foundation of the club, something unique that would address the project management community. And we came up with the idea of joining Toastmasters, which is an organization that's been around since 1924, since 98 years, and project management, and married the two together. So it was a perfect mix of communication and leadership and project management education. But from that, more came out of that. So we've been very fortunate. So what we wanted to address was something unique. It was the life cycle of a project manager. So going from education to employment to career development. So a lot of clubs, they just education alone, but we wanted to take you through and support you through a path of your life and part of your life and your career. We are project management agnostic, meaning that we're not stuck to one methodology. We address or we embrace all of them, from obviously project management methodology to agile, agile Scrum, waterfall, the whole gamut. So, and we know that with our careers, a lot of the employers or wherever we work, they do embrace a mix of the different methodologies. Our path was not linear, it was not easy. We had some distractors, if you could believe that. But with Rod, he was very much a champion, a proponent of our club. He was a great defender. Rod was the person who opened up his network so we could have a consistent number of people delivering a PM forum. we've been very fortunate. I could probably count on like a couple fingers in the 5 years when we didn't have a PM forum speaker. Well, I was very generous to just reach out to all his networks. He worked in the US, he worked in Canada, he worked in different industries and networked with a lot of different PMs and also within Project Management International. If you enjoy your PDUs, you have Rod Chambers to thank. We reached out to Project Management International and had them acknowledge and accept our PDU receipts. And Rod was the one that had our club chartered in 2017. So when you're going through the process of creating a project management club, it has to be officially acknowledged. And that's what Rod did. He sent in the paperwork and used his connections to make sure that we were a solid club. Rod's work and a memory should never be forgotten. He was an amazing human being and such a supporter of everybody, but especially students. And for that, what we've created is a Rod Chambers Scholarship for students and recent graduates. So in the upcoming months, we will actually provide or give away the first scholarship to our first students. So that will provide them a membership to our club, and they'll enjoy so many benefits from being in PMUT. So Project Managers United Toastmasters is a community for project managers. But the beauty of it, it's the collaboration. So within the club, we have career support. We have an education sponsor. But the unique and amazing derivative that came out of PMUT is the culture. It's very difficult to create, and one that a lot of people fiercely defend and protect, is you don't want anything to happen to this culture. And as you're listening to everyone speak, you're hearing particular words like network. I hear words like fun, encouraging, friendly, supportive. It's very difficult to create these things and maintain them. So we just attract incredible people that want to glean from this support system, this culture, this community, this collaboration. And for those people who are sitting on the fence of which club should I join, speaking to you, Alvaro, which club should I join? What should I do? I always say jump off the fence and join Project Managers United Toastmasters. We have a tagline that I just love. It's where leaders find their voice. And I promise you, if you join our club, there's so many, and the list of benefits is so long, but you really find your voice, you really find your confidence. You will become that confident communicator, that strong leader within Project Managers United Toastmasters.
Thank you, Arlie. That's all my questions for our panelists. But before we move on to the Q&A section, I would like to just add that I didn't have a chance to meet Rod, but from the stories I hear, from Arlie, from everyone else, he was an inspiration for many of the PMUT members. And I think that's one of the things I feel really glad to be part of a club that honors and celebrates members in such a wonderful way. That this is a scholarship, right? And I believe I'm not the only one that feels this way. I see smiles and nods from everyone, so I'm happy. Anyways, now it's time for our Q&A. So for anyone who would like to maybe unmute, I love the comments that we have. The reward for good work is more work. This is very true, but kind of sad at the same time. And Vari, I'm really happy that when the interviewer asked about, when you told the interviewer about your Toastmaster, that they were very impressed. So that's great. I always mention Toastmaster every interview, anytime someone asks me, it's like, yeah, I joined Toastmaster. And people are like, you don't need it. I'm like, oh, trust me, I do. I need the people. And I also need the practicing my my communication skills. And you know what, this is the second time I'm doing a panel. So please bear with me. But yeah, if anyone, Joanne, what's your most memorable club meeting to date? Any funny or strange ones? Does anyone want to answer that? Maybe Carrie.
I got a couple.
I will go. Well, go ahead after you, Carrie.
Okay, so one, I don't know, this was a long time ago. We had this guy that read brainwaves. I don't know if you remember that. It was like so bizarre. I don't even know how we found him. I don't know, but he literally had this like machine that read brainwaves, and that's how he made his decisions. He's only been back once, but that was an interesting meeting. But the funniest thing that happened to me is, well, one of the fun is we were in City Hall, and I had invited this guy to come and speak to us, and I was the Toastmaster, and I'm just about to go to the break, and I'm like, Arlie, have you seen this guy? And she's like, no. And I said, well, can you like see if you can contact? And she's like, yeah, I have, but I can't find him. So literally I said, okay, thank you, Toastmasters, take a break. And when we come back, we're gonna have so-and-so do his presentation, not knowing if he was even in the building or if he was around. Personally, he had just got lost and we found him in the hall. But when I said that, I had no idea where he was.
I remember that. He went to the wrong building.
Yeah.
Metro Hall. And
Yeah.
I guess he just scanned his email. He didn't read it and went to the wrong building. But I was just like, thank God when I saw him walking towards us, like, please come on in.
I have two memories. One is the first session of January 2019. And by way of background, I just moved back from overseas. I tried to join Toastmasters when I was in Canada before I was seconded to overseas, and then overseas. And I just couldn't click with any of the clubs. So this was the first club. A colleague of mine, some of you guys know, Rukmini Madaruli, told me about the club. So I joined, and I've exchanged some messages with Jane. I don't know if she's Jane Taylor. I don't know if she's on the call. But when I showed up, I had a check, and I just fell in love with the club. And Lionel was the treasurer, and at the end of the meeting, he's asking me, "Would you like to join?" and stuff like that. At the time, I didn't know him, but in my mind, I wanted to say, "Shut up and take my money." So that was what was going on in my mind. And then the second, Tuesday nights are my Toastmaster nights. I genuinely look forward to it. I don't do anything else. Either I'm at the executive meetings or I'm at the session, club meeting. But one of my really favorite experiences is April of 2019. We had a speaker by the name of Jeff Crane, and he's a professor at the Trent University, psychology professor, but he was a high-level program manager, was running multiple projects for banks in Asia. And one night he gets a call and his sister dies while giving birth. And his entire life changed, right? But the way he told that story, like, I just never seen any human being like really tell a personal story and bring everyone with them from beginning to the end. I don't think there was a dry eyes in that room when he finished with that story. It's just, and he does come back. He does speeches for us, but that, talk just stayed with me. He didn't have notes. He didn't have. He just spoke from the heart, and I think that's the pinnacle of public speaking. Hopefully one day, all of us will get to that.
Thanks, Livon.
I can share another one, Christine, if you allow me.
Sure.
It's not a PMUT.
I think Norm also has a raised hand. So after you, then we'll go to Norm.
Okay, so I remember these membership networking events. There were very good ones. I still remember the one that we have to share pictures when we were child. That was a good one because we we couldn't recognize them from the pictures, so that was a good one. And another session that I still remember is the one when Didier's wife spoke about mindfulness. Oh, Didier also spoke. I was so tired joining at the beginning of the session, but I ended so relaxed, so calm. That was a good one. So that's my favorite sessions that I still
Thank you,
remember.
Sinead. I remember that talk as well. It was a good one. Norm, you have your hand raised. Please unmute and talk.
Thank you. Yes, I would like to make a couple comments. One is, I thought one of your initial questions to the panel members, what does PMUT Club mean to you? I thought was a very good question. I'd like to hear others, even those that are not on the panel, answer that. I'll tell you what it means to me. I'm one of your fairly new members. I think I joined back in January of this year, and I've been in Toastmasters since 1999, and I've been doing project management for about 30 years. And I got my PMP in 2006, I believe it was. I've always felt that there was a very, very strong symbiotic relationship between project management and Toastmasters, because Toastmasters focuses on leadership and communications, and you cannot do project management well at all unless you are really good with both leadership and communications. To me, the fit is like a hand in a glove. However, in all of my presentations to my PM colleagues, to try to help them see that, which is so obvious to me, I've never been very successful at it. I guess I'm just not a very good salesman. So when I found this club, a club that focuses on the project management community, even though I already belonged to 3 other clubs, I could not join this club. That's how important it was to me. So that's why I'm here. One of the other questions you asked was for an unusual PM or Toastmasters experience. And I don't know if any of you have ever seen a backwards meeting, a backwards Toastmasters meeting. Hands raised. Anybody ever see one of those? Okay,
No,
so
please
a couple of you.
explain.
Yeah, a backwards meeting is probably one of the most unusual, most rewarding, and the funniest Toastmaster meeting you'll ever go to. I mean, you literally do everything backwards. For example, at the end, you hear the counters report and, oh, Norm Thibodeau had 5 ahs tonight. Well, can you imagine then when Norm Thibodeau speaks later on, he's got to work 5 ahs into his speech. Worse yet, the evaluator gives the evaluation of, Kerry's speech, and Kerry's got to give his speech living up to that evaluation. Very interesting, very difficult, and a lot of fun. The laughs just never stop. So anyway, I wanted to make those comments. Thanks.
I love that idea.
I love that. Can I propose that we do that?
That sounds fun.
We can try.
Put some notes for a bell. That sounds so fun. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's one more hand raised. Ryan, please take over. Go ahead.
Oh, I have so much fun whenever I come to these meetings, and I learn so much. I am known for jumping down rabbit holes when something gets my interest. I really have to stay focused. No, for the benefit of the guests and maybe the new members, and for myself, there was a fantastic presentation you did where you had to follow the timer, presenting, I think, 20 slides in 2 minutes or whatever. Can you remind us of the name of that? That one probably has to be the most humorous meeting I've ever sat in. It was really good. And also, I think it was Kerry that mentioned the brainwave reader, and I was having so much difficulty. I was so excited by that thought. One, I can just see cha-ching, cha-ching. There are a few of my friends that would like to pay money to rent this machine to prove to their better halves that, yes, there is some brainwave here. Anyway, I did find on Amazon that apparently they have some brainwave readers, but it's for meditation. Apparently it tells you when. But that machine, I'm thinking, man, that must have been a fantastic meeting. So those are my 2 comments.
Thank you, Ryan. And sorry, Norm, do you want to explain that thing that Ryan was mentioning? Sorry, I might have missed it.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, it was one heck of a presentation. If you get a chance and if you have his permission, ask for the video to see it.
Oh, yeah, anybody is welcome to see that video. Yeah, it's called a Pachakasha. This is a presentation method that was developed actually in the architecture field in Japan. They had this architecture conference. It was periodic. I don't know how often, but that doesn't matter. And there was always more demand for speaking slots than there were slots. And they would have people that would get up and just start talking and never end. So they developed this format where you can talk about anything you want. However, the speech will last exactly 6 minutes and 40 seconds. And you get 20 PowerPoint slides, and the PowerPoint slides, they transition automatically. You have no control over that. You build your own PowerPoint, but you put it in a template that advances the slides every 20 seconds. So you get 20 seconds per slide, you get 20 slides. And the trick is to build your slides and build your speech so that they work with each other. And it's very challenging. It puts another, and 6 minutes, 40 seconds just happens to fit very nicely within the normal Toastmaster speech, which is 5 to 7 minutes. I think that's just coincidence, but it works out very well. And it's challenging and it's a lot of fun. That's something else that we could try at a PMUT meeting in the future, if you'd like to do that. I have coordinated several Pachakachas over the past, say 5 or 10 years. They're a lot of fun.
Amazing. Thank you, Norm. And I think this is great because I feel like you have other experience from other Toastmasters that you can share what works and what doesn't work. So I think I can speak for the president and everyone in the executive team that we're open to suggestions and we're always willing to try different things. As project managers, change managers, you know what? Like, let's work at it. Any other comments, questions? I remember the baby picture one. We should try it. Oh, we should definitely try it.
Kristen, if you'd allow me, I have one slide I wanted to share with our new members and also our guests about the club structure and the committee that Zeneda spoke to.
Yeah, no worries. In that case, I'll end the Q&A. If there are any other questions, please still message it on the chat, but that's it for me. Thank you, everyone.
Harry wanted to say something.
I just wanted to say one thing before.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So I just wanted to say the reason I'm in Toastmasters is because of Rod Chambers. So I used to go to, I haven't gone to PMI recently, but I used to anyways. They had the Career Accelerator program. And I met Rod there and he said, oh, you want to come to this Toastmasters thing? And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. He goes, no, it'll be fun. So anyways, that's the reason I'm here. So I just wanted to say that. And one other quick Rod story. I had come to a couple meetings. And so then Rod sends me an email and he goes, Carrie, it's like, you know, really nice that you've come to our meetings and you enjoy it, but like, when are you going to pay? So anyways, I just wanted to point that out. And the reason I'm here, I didn't even hear of Toastmasters before. So I just wanted to say that about Rod, and he's always been the reason that I'm here. So I don't want to, I just wanted to mention that. Thanks.
He was an amazing human being. The few times I interacted with him, the feedbacks that he gave me on my speech, he was my evaluator. You can tell that he's coming from a place of caring, and he was at the end of his career, and he was so passionate about sharing knowledge. That's what stuck with me. Like when he does something, you can feel the passion. Just quickly, I know we have a few minutes, but for our new members and our guest, Zeneda touched on this. Let me make this, presentation mode and remove this. So one of the things that actually makes PMUT a very unique club is our structure. Generally speaking, within Toastmasters domain, you have the club president and then the VPs that are elected, plus the secretary and the sergeant at arm. So everyone at the top is just an exec. The downside of that is that the elections are held the first session of June. The new executives take over first session of 1st of July, forgive me, and then that runs until June of next year. But at any given position, if you ask any of the execs, Zenaida, Joanne, you name it, it usually takes about 6 months just to wrap your head around how things work and stuff like that. And then also within our club, you have both the Toastmasters and the PMI institution learning requirements. So the education committee or education VP portfolio is double the amount. So originally when we started thinking about it, Zenaida and I and Arlie, few of us put our heads together and we said, well, let's start a committee. And the purpose of the committee is that one, we share as Zenaida eloquently spoke to, we load balance. And then number two, when one person moves up, the next person who was part of the committee can become, can run for election, become the vice president, or whichever other division or portfolio that we're talking about. And that shaves the amount of time that you need to ramp up to get to know the position, because you have already been doing the position. So if you want to rewind the clock, Zenaida used to be a member, education committee member, and we actually use education committee email address, so it distributes to everybody on that committee. Membership, the same thing. PR, the same thing. And then Zenaida was elected to be the president for this year. So that we have the continuity, and also we load balance because there's a lot of work happening behind the scene, as Kristen spoke to earlier. And what that allows is that it allows the executives, instead of just being focused in running the club's day-to-day operations, they can actually also take part of the meetings and don't forget about the reason that they came and joined the club, which is to improve their leadership skills, public speaking skills, make friends and enjoy the experience, right? So for the new members and for our guests, I would, when you become a member, I would encourage you to actually, consider taking a role within a committee. It's very light work. You actually get to try out, some stuff. If you have ideas, come on out and this is a place where leaders find their voice. And what better way to do it than actually try some stuff? There's no harm in doing that. Another reason that actually this club is very unique is the fact that when a president's term, usually 1 year within Toastmaster likes to keep that in 1 year, but because of the pandemic, Arlie was kind enough to run for another year. Well, she's been voluntold. Don't tell her I said that. One of the things that makes us unique is that when the president's term is up, it's not like, I've served and I'm moving on. Arlie was kind enough to stay as a past president and also be the advisory board, from the founders, creating that link for us, Carrie, Jane, Lionel, those founders who actually had the vision and be that bridge for us. And as the current president, I can tell you that her advice have been invaluable to me. I have a call with her every second Tuesday, first and the third Tuesday of the month before the executive committee call. And she gives me her time. She gives me her ideas. She shares knowledge with me. Can anyone do the president's role? Absolutely. But it takes quite a bit of a time to actually figure out what Toastmasters is asking you, what the PMI is asking you. So that knowledge is not lost when the position, the term is up. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. But for our new members, please do consider taking joining a committee and contributing to the club's growth that way. And I will stop here and let people ask any questions. I'll take down the deck if people have a question.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, Joanne. Joanne reminded us about the raffle. So let's make sure that we are mindful of time so that we could have that raffle. But yes, we do have some time for a couple of questions if anyone has any more questions. Alvaro, do you have any questions?
I would only like to know about the education pathways, but because I was looking at the website toastmasters.org, and apparently the section with the pathways, I don't know if it's related to some you need your login. I was trying to use my pass login and I couldn't access that information. So maybe if you can give
Alvaro, I can give you my email address, drop me a line, and I will help you with that. So
sounds good.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Liban.
You're welcome. There.
Thanks for the question, Alvaro. Anyone else? Okay. Joanne.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we could get into the raffle.
Before we descend.
Oh, sorry, Arlie.
Just wanted, if Kristen could formally close the panel and also.
Yes. Sorry about that, Kristen. Go ahead.
I did. Yeah, so I just want to say thank you everyone for the panelists, Arlie, Zenaida, and Carrie, for being open to discussing your experiences and insights about being a PMUT member. Thank you everyone who participated in the Q&A and giving us some of your comments. And with that, thank you very much. And that is it.